And this is, Confessions of the Golden Witch. You guys told me to check this out, so I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna start it. You can just stop hearing the seagulls. Honestly, good morning. Confession of the Golden Witch. Good morning. This is not a game or a challenge, but a simple answer sheet. In truth, it was my desire for this tale to remain uncovered, but the difficulty level is low. After all, no more questions are being asked. Hello. Do let me know if the sound is off. This is a different program, so I might have to change the settings. And minor progress on the painting. It's working on the hair. It's coming along, but to be quite frank, I'm quite afraid of screwing up the face. It's the most important part, and it can toss out everything. You've been waiting for this, huh? Alright. But the past couple of days I've been trying to figure out how to actually get it accurately on there and not just like misshapen eyeballs or like clown face or something weird. I think I found out a way to do it, and so I'm gonna be trying it. I'm gonna task myself with finishing it up for tomorrow. That's my goal. So we'll have a painting by tomorrow. If for some reason I fail to do that, you guys can choose a punishment, I guess. Anyway, so you told me to get here. I don't quite know where we are, what we're doing, or whatnot, but apparently we have Erica, who isn't she no longer existing or something, or she's out of the picture. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Angie chose to ignore Erica as she made tea. You told me to ignore like the first 5 minutes or something of this, so it won't take. I'll try to. Angie chose to ignore Erica as she made tea and decided to look around this bizarre, otherworldly library. Angie chose to ignore Erica as she made tea and decided to look around this bizarre, otherworldly library. Her eyes were drawn to a large shelf laden with bottles. These are wine bottles? That's the shelf of Beatrice's bottled messages, as well as all of their fakes. I see. In other words, that means that all the titles I don't recognize are either undiscovered bottles or fakes. Huh? Red paper? I picked up the bottle and read the title. Conf. I don't recall any of Beatrice's games having a title that started with a C. Is this one of those undiscovered bottles? The bottle shattered in my hands, leaving behind nothing but a crimson red fragment. Right. These aren't normal books, are they? That's right. Each volume is packed with an ensemble play. They look like books from here, but if you open one up, you'll find a whole world inside. An entire world. Oh, did I wake you up? No, I slept well. I feel refreshed now. You've been pretty hooked by that computer lately, Ukuku-san. That's a typewriter. Did you find an interesting article or something? It may be juvenile, but I admit I find it interesting. Say, Toya, what motives do you think could drive a person to kill another? Is she planning a new idea for a novel? Status, honor, money, revenge, things like that, I suppose. In the world of mystery novels, that may be so, but in the real world, spontaneous murders that arise from simple arguments and odd, unsettling feelings in the air are far more likely. According to psychology, men often kill to uphold status or make a lover eternally theirs. Women kill to escape those who keep them trapped in place. Many indiscriminate killers have a death wish and commit murders to make themselves irredeemable and worthy of death, so that they can finally bring an end to their own lives. Are you thinking of a story where the motive is the main purpose of the mystery? It's just so interesting. This Rakanjima incident. Rakanjima? I told you about the Rakanjima mystery a few days ago, remember? It's been really huge on the net lately. The discussions, theories, and even forgeries have been quite entertaining. Forgeries are stories, all based on the premise that yet another message bottle signed by Ushimura Maria existed and drifted to one of the nearby islands. Here's one. The other day, I found it on the beach where I discovered you. I was hoping we could read it together. This one is less of a forgery, and more like a message bottle version of And Then There Were None. The contents are simply fascinating. Maybe there's actually a dedicated forger nearby, or maybe it's a message bottle from the real killer. Ikuku kept showing off her knowledge of the subject. However, a huge bell was clanging inside my head. The noise was so great that I thought my head would split open. Unable to tell what the floor and what the ceiling, I crumpled and clutched at my head. Toya, are you okay? My head hurts. No good. My head's getting split open. Incomprehensible scenes pierced my eyelids. Alrighty. Confession of the Golden Witch. I pray that this bottled letter never reaches another person's sight. If you are reading this, deliver unto me the punishment I deserve. This island is under a curse. It is an island of many irredeemable souls, corpses, and sins. Rakanjima. Hey. The Witch's Island. And in accordance with that witch's name, my life, too, is under a curse. I was raised in an orphanage and started working for the Ushimiya family as a servant from a young age. There were many other servants from the same orphanage there, but I was by far the youngest, and I was often picked on for my comparative lack of ability. I knew we couldn't be friends, and I didn't want to bother trying. Instead, I interacted with imaginary friends of my own making. Hello. Whenever I paid attention to them, they were by my side at an instant. They laughed and cavorted to make things lively, sometimes causing trouble, sometimes consoling me. They were irreplaceable friends. Even on lonely nights, thanks to them, I had nothing to fear. Time continued to pass. And even though the servants changed, I still failed to befriend any of them. One night, I decided to play a prank. Yeah, with this, I can finally make Baruni-san work harder. I took one key off my keychain and threw it onto Baruni-san's locker. Then I switched my ring with hers when she left them lying around. I wonder, was that going overboard? I thought that might have been the thing. Whatever do you mean? I was just borrowing your body to teach Barun a mildly painful lesson. Now she will learn her place and fear me like she should. Yes, it's Baruni-san's fault for not taking the job seriously. I just had the witch give her a bit of punishment for her actions. That's all this is. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Oh my, you've got an early morning tomorrow. Off to bed now. Oh, Kumasawa-san. Thank you for your help earlier. And I, broke the master's vase. Earlier today, when I was playing around, I broke one of the master's precious vases. But Kumasawa-san covered the story up for me. Oh. Don't be silly. That was just the cat's doing, right? Right. The veteran worker Kumasawa-san, the head servant Genji-sama, and even the master's friend and occasional visitor, Dr. Nanjo. They were all very kind to me for some reason. On some days I was firmly scolded, but they were always by my side. Genji-sama, who strictly taught me how the servant should behave, and Kumasawa-san, who fussed over me, were almost like parents to someone like me, without anyone else in the world. Despite that, when it came to my innermost thoughts, I relied most on my imaginary friends. Will you guys hear me out? I found a dream to pursue. I want a family. I want to fall in love, get married, have kids, and create a real family. Well, what a perfectly puny human dream that is. As a witch, I don't really get it. And eventually, I did fall in love. Hey, long time no see? You're nothing like that tomboyish Jessica. You get cuter every time I see you, Shannon John. Read any mystery novels lately? This is the best one I've found. Thank you very much. Recently, I read all of Agatha Christie. He was the son of one of the Ushiria branch families. He was good looking. A bit of a show-off, but he wasn't full of himself. Okay. He also had the same hobby that I did, and each time he visited for the family conference, he talked with me for hours. I didn't have any friends my age, so I suppose it was inevitable that I'd grown infatuated with a boy like him. When I was around him, I forgot all the daily toil and pain. I dreamed of having more time to spend around him. And it seemed to me that he was more than a little attracted to me in return. Huh? What's my type? Well, I'm not actually a big fan of the family-oriented type of girl. You see how crude I am, right? I just can't handle acting politely in front of girls, ladies first, and all that stuff. So, if I had to say what type I liked, well, I'd probably like a Jessica-ish girl. If I'm crude, why shouldn't she be too? It'd probably be just perfect to have a rough, relaxed relationship, where we could mess around without worrying about gender and be rude with no worries. So, if I ever get a girlfriend, I hope it's someone I can joke around with all the time. Huh? What would she look like? Can't say I care much either way. Well, she did happen to be a glamorous woman, blonde and bouncy with blue eyes, like in Western films. That'd be awesome. I'd love to rub those boobs. You know, if the day comes that you give up your job and service, then come be with me. When that day comes, I'll ride up on a white horse to get you. I felt my heart explode. Does that mean you'll be my Prince Charming on a white horse? You'll come and spirit me away from the island? Oh, how happy I could be if I lived with you. I wish I could be your wife. If I were with you, I know that my dream would come true. I'll do my best to become the ideal girl you envision, as I wait for that day you come to take me away. I'll wait forever. We made a promise to meet again in the same spot 1 year later, and parted ways. When we met again, we'd know for sure if it was meant to be. In waiting, I kept practicing, trying to shape myself into his ideal. But no matter how I waited, he did not return. I heard Battler-sama renounce the family name. Well, they say as soon as Sama's husband was cheating on her wife, if she was still alive, I'd leave the family too. But Rudolph-sama's always been a womanizer. Didn't he sweep you off your feet once too, Hamachi? The years began to pass, and I reassured myself each time that he would definitely return next year. Next year. As I waited, helpless for his return, I started to feel uneasy about my own body. Oh, Yasuda-san. I'm sorry, do you have a tampon I could use? I'm sorry. I still haven't... Oh, alright, sorry. I still haven't had my period. All the other girls have had them by now. A male body, a female body, I don't... The shower water splashed on me as I thought to myself. He said that he prefers women with large breasts. Why aren't mine growing at all? Why am I the only one without a period? Is there something wrong with my body? Aren't you still a middle schooler? When it comes to the moon's tides, some people only experience it when they enter high school. I suppose. With my magic, your breasts will soon be lush and voluptuous. By the time Battler returns, he'll be as plump and heavy as ripened fruit. What is it about the maiden's mind that worries so much about such trifling matters? What a bother it is. I agree. Exactly. You are worrying over nothing. I am, right? Beatrice-sama. I turned to face her, and all I was greeted with was a mirror. When I saw it, a disgusting feeling towards the image reflected there welled up inside of me. Without thinking, I smashed it with my fist. I hate mirrors for showing me how I truly look. Lush and voluptuous, huh? What is it everybody talks about them, huh? Because they steal my dreams from me. No! I cannot do that stuff. Is that me? That boyish, flat-chested thing with a tired face, tossed away by the one she liked, with no real friends or family to talk to? Who just gloomily sits in her room, talking to herself, living just by living to her, lying to herself? How shabby is that? Battler-san, why won't you come back to me? Come back and save me. Come and take me away from this island, from this fate. Please. What did that promise even mean to you? Was I the only one getting my hopes up? Is there nothing left for me besides living alone and miserable? I want to die. If only I could forget you, and my past, and just live a different life. A different life. As I sobbed and wailed, an idea entered my head. I ran my fingers through my hair, What an outlandish thought. Such an absurd fantasy. A different life. Life. As a boy? This is Kanon, our newest servant here at the mansion. I expect you to treat him well, everyone. Sometime after that, I began acting as Kanon. I thought that if I could find happiness as a boy, I could eventually phase out of my old life as Shannon. It couldn't happen all at once, of course. I had to split my time between Shannon and Kanon. Kumasawa-san and Genji-san treated it as make-believe and played along. They covered for me and adjusted my work shifts. It's so strange having a boy servant. Hey, do you want to have lunch with me? Food tastes worse if the company is bad. He was silent, cold, and insulting when he spoke. I'm sure that's how boys were. Yes, Kanon was the opposite of Shannon. I stayed out of the way of people and rarely talked. With only 2 or 3 servants working regularly at the island, and with the assistance of the other older servants, no one would figure out my secret if I played my cards right. This strategy paid off in unexpected ways. Kanon-kun was a way to exercise my daily woes, while the witch within me lived out my mischievous side and my romantic feelings. And when I was myself, I could actually smile and be happy. Yumi Neko when they cry, Chiru, Nocturne of the Truth and Illusions. Time passed once more until, I believe it was when I was serving the master his meal. It's hot. Hurry, some ice. I felt the bowl of soup slip from my fingers, then the sensation of the hot liquid burning my leg. We need to cool off the skin. Shannon-chan, take your socks off. I removed my socks like Kumasawa-san commanded. Moment, I would have had no way to know, but definitely, when I took off my socks, on my foot he must have spotted. He's going to yell at me. Master, I must ask to borrow your washroom. Very well. Kumasawa-san and I left for the washroom. I apologize for that unsightly display. I shall have another dish brought at once. Genji, you... Surely not. No, never mind. Huh? Master, what is... I asked if you would like to try shooting these guns as well. Isn't that wonderful, Shannon-san? Not even Eva-sama and her siblings are allowed to use the master's guns. Don't you want to at least give it a try? Yes, sir. There really is a resemblance. To think a chance to atone would arise at this late an hour. Ah, the vagaries of heaven. I suppose, in retrospect, that these were the happiest times of my life. I grew closer to my lady Jessica, and rapidly became good friends with Maria-sama too. We expanded our worlds together until we shared them. And orchestrated our very own world just for the 2 of us. And then, I found a new love. Initially, it was a way to finally forget about my first love. And I did feel guilty that I was simply trying to replace someone else with him. But my time with him was so gentle and kind, and I loved that he treated me like a girl. Best of all, when he spoke of his ideal family, it overlapped with my own ideal. More and more, I found myself getting close to him. Perhaps it was just my figure that was destined to never fill out in that way. But even if it took a while, I was sure I could eventually bear children, and then I could build my future with George-san. Even though there was no chance that I could have a happy future. Umineko when they cry Jiru, Nocturne of the Truths and Illusions. November 29th, 1984. 2 years prior, I believe? And a month later. After a hint from Genji-san, I was grabbed by passion and resolved to challenge the riddle of the epitaph. With my experience reading mystery novels, I knew it could be solved, and that I could solve it. I went about it, completely oblivious of what it truly meant to solve the epitaph. Kanon, quadrillion. That's definitely a bizarre riddle. Those are numbers. I went about it, completely oblivious of what it truly meant to solve the epitaph. And in the end, it was nothing but me prying open the Pandora's box of my fate. Oh, forgive me, Beatrice. Leon, just once. Call me father, just once. Huh, sir? I no longer have any regrets. Without so much as a sound, Kenzo's body crumpled on the ground without a trace of life left in him. He departed from this world with a smile on his face. He has passed away. I believe meeting you at the end gave him an opportunity to clear his regrets. He must surely have been satisfied. My true name is Ushiromiya Leon. You are now the master of Aokujima, and you possess the right to know all of its secrets. Please, ask us anything, no matter what it may be. You knew all along that I was the master's child, didn't you? And also that my mother was Beatrice, huh? What does that mean? I don't understand. Are you saying... My mother had been the Beatrice held captive in Kuwadorian, who was actually Kenzo's daughter, as well as my elder sister. The master deeply regretted pushing his misguided love towards the deceased Beatrice-sama onto her. He regretted the tragic fate that he saddled you, the fruit of that union, with. So, you see... Wait a minute. So I am Ushiromiya Kinzo's youngest child. Kraus-sama and the others are my older siblings. Child of the child he had with his lover. So my lady and the others are my cousins, and my nieces and nephews? Marrying second cousins is illegal. I have more of Ushiromiya Kinzo's blood than anyone else. Meaning, I was never supposed to be born. After your mother died, Kenzo-san planned to introduce you into the family as a foster child. Wait a second. But Natsuki-san, driven neurotic by her years of difficulty bearing a child, my ears won't stop ringing, pushed the serpent who was carrying you off the edge of a cliff. Please stop telling me this. Nothing good can come from this. But still, you were exceedingly lucky. It seemed to me nothing short of a miracle. You suffered major lacerations on your lower abdomen and genital region, but you miraculously survived your injuries. Dr. Nandra did everything in his power to save your life. We were unable to save your poor mother, but for that, we at least wanted you to live. Why haven't I had my period? This flat, boyish body. I hope that even if you could not bear children, you would still be able to live a happy life. A lie. It's a lie. This has to be a lie. I'm just Yasuda Sayo, an orphan. I'm not this Leon you speak of. You have the wrong person. It's not me. It can't be me. No, you are indeed Leon-sama. Can you prove that? Do you have proof that I am Leon? Yes. On your foot is a scar left from operation to treat your polydactyly. That alone is proof that within you flows the blood of the Master. I suppose you were careless, and it left the scar. No, but that's... Why? Why did you save me? Why didn't you let me die? Because of that terrible injury, I've been forced to live in a body like this. I never wanted to live in a body like this. This body isn't even capable of love. What's the point in living like that? This isn't a human's life. It's like being furniture. That's right. I'm furniture. Furniture. Why didn't you let me die back then? It's a lie that I can't have children. It's a lie that I'm a bastard. It's a lie that I'm related to you. It's a lie that I can't be happy with the person I love. Surely from the very moment I was born, I was never given a chance for a happy life. Neko, When They Cry, Chidu, Nocturne of the Truths and Illusions. Yeah, that's pretty bad. They kind of basically took any hope for any of her plans away in one moment. After the study, I returned to the gold room. Happiness can never come to a human being charmed by a witch. Didn't you know that, furniture? Your tears are my pre-dinner aperitif, your romantic anguish a glorious hors d'oeuvre. Begone, foul witch! Kanon chivalrously stood between the witch and I, and turned to speak to me. Nei-san, we are furniture. Humans and furniture cannot fall in love. You need to tell George-sama as much. You mustn't try to get closer to anyone. As furniture, you have a furniture's life to uphold. Kanon-kun. The noise of the bell cut through the silence, briefly dispelling my internal conflict. Right. Work. It's time for my shift. One shall be the resurrection of all the dead souls. One shall be the resurrection of the love that was lost. One shall be to put the witch to sleep for all time. It's so simple. Just by returning the mechanisms to how they were, I can just hide the gold I found. she shall bestow 4 treasures? What a joke. I gained that gold, but I lost everything else. I decided to live my life the same as I did before the incident. The solving of the epitaph, inheriting control of the family, and even the story of my birth. I kept it a secret from all. I ordered Genji-san and the others to treat me the same as they always had. I was too frightened to reveal the truth. It felt almost as though admitting it out loud would only make my misery all the more real. No amount of gold could save me from my accursed fate. It was merely another source of pressure, compacting me, forcing me further inward. The master's death was tidily covered up by the others, as though the witch inside me had cast a spell to make it happen. Kraus-sama has a phenomenal amount of debt. Because of that, they claimed that they needed to delay the master of the inheritance's distribution. What an arrogant woman. She claims she's protecting the family honor, but she just wants to maintain the status quo. She's horrible, completely destroying any chance to properly mourn the patriarch she claims to protect. Huh. That's simply what he deserves for violating me so. Natsui-san pushed you over that cliff, right? The days continued as they had done, even though my view of the world had been turned upside down on that day. Is it just me, or has the smell around Gramps' study been extra weird lately? I wonder what he's researching in there. He seems even more withdrawn than usual lately. His mood is often foul, so it's probably for the best that you attempt not to visit him in his study. I'll have to ask Genji-san about checking the freezer and adding more preservative. I suppose so. I will discuss purchasing a new freezer with Madame. Genji-sama? Why are there so many skeletons underground? Rakanjima was once a military base. The first Beatrice-sama arrived here on an Italian submarine. The sailors, with her and the Japanese soldiers stationed here, had a terrible battle, I was told. The bones, they were gathered into one room. They were piled atop one another in a mess. Not organized into bodies, just bones wearing Italian and Japanese uniforms, all thrown together, like trash at a garbage dump. Why would the master abandon his comrades like that without honoring their deaths? Why did he hide them by building a mansion atop where they died? It's because he killed them all, didn't he? Also, he could have Beatrice and the gold to himself. Did he kill them and then move them there? Or did he... I shuddered in disgust. My body has this accursed blood running through its veins. Around the same time, Hey, Shannon, what's up with you and George, Nissan? What's up? The last time you came to this island, you two looked like you were getting along pretty well. Are you going out? Did you go on a date or something? No, we're not really going out. He just came along on my shopping errand. It wasn't a date, or... Ah, shut the hell up. That's totally a date. And you're gonna say you two aren't going out? He's your boyfriend, right? Admit it. You're his girlfriend. It's nothing as serious as boyfriend and girlfriend. Really? No skipping ahead then. You have to get boyfriends at the same time. Jessica flopped onto her bed and began to toss and turn. Say, Shannon. Yes? You know how there's that servant boy? Kanon-kun. Are you friends with him? Do you think he has a girlfriend? I felt dizzy. My lady, have you ever spoken to him? Not the delight of hearing of someone's attraction to me. Only a little, but it always seems like he's never willing to give me the time of day. That Ken, the amalgamation of all of my ugliness, the representation of my life as a boy and new possibilities, would actually be the target of someone's affections. Kanon is always, like, looking sadly into the distance. It makes me wonder about him. I don't mean that I like him or anything, but I feel like if I could really talk to him, I might be able to help him enjoy life more. It felt as though I'd been given permission to live. Yet, at the same time, I silently shivered with disgust at the Euphemia gene deep within me. I don't believe Kanon has a girlfriend. For real? All he does is spend time alone. I'm sure he'd be happy to hear from you. That Kinzo's blood flowing deep within my veins, happy about the affection bestowed upon me. The only people who love me are my own blood relatives. Time passed, and I told my truth to neither of them. Their attraction to me only grew deeper by the day. This is what you need when you're feeling down. It's a mixtape of pick-me-up songs. Give it a listen if you want. When I'm with you, I always find that I'm learning new emotions. You sent a gentle breeze through my heart. Shannon, I'm so glad I met you. Can you see? Coming from someone who rejected everything they represented. Thank you for being born. How much bliss I experienced at being able to feel that I was loved, that it was okay for me to live. Huh? I didn't mean to make you cry. And this feeling rattled my determination to tell them the truth. When the prospect of an overnight vacation came up, I was a tad relieved. I was sure that even someone as weak-willed as myself would find a way to broach the topic. If George-san truly loved me, I hoped he would be able to accept me even after learning the truth. Sadly, I didn't find the resolution in the moment. Instead, he raised the topic of engagement. What should I do? I can't lie to him anymore. I have to tell George-san the truth. I'm sure that George-san will accept me. Stop wasting your time with daydreams, furniture. Love is about sexual desire. Its worth can only be measured by bodies sharing physical passion. George will be so disappointed when he learns about your body and your birth. You cannot make his dreams come true. What makes you worthy of them? It is sinful for you to even imagine being with George. But George-san is so faithful. His love for me won't be broken by... You dare claim that? If George is honest and faithful, then his love for you will fade when he realizes you betrayed and lied to him in order to leech affection you did not deserve. There are plenty who can take your place. He has no reason to choose you above them. But I wanted to be loved too. I wanted to love someone, and it just so happened to be George-san. Is it a sin to even to hope that I could experience love with George-san? You want to be with the son of your sister. You have reason to hate Kinzo's sin, yet you are determined to repeat them. What will you do? Hide the truth and stay with George, knowing the ravaging absolute despair that awaits you in the future? No one will allow the inheritor of a company to choose a life partner whose background is a complete mystery. And if your identity is known, then George may even be disinherited from his grievous decision. And you have not placed your entire soul into this bet. How can you possibly have the right to love George? And I love my lady Jessica. Kanon. It was so painful having to reject her on that day. hurt so much to hurt her. It felt like I was rejecting myself for being worthy of her affection. She's brighter than the sun for me, and she lights up my life. If I could be with her, then maybe I could live with my eyes looking forward. You're probably thinking that if George-sama rejects you, you've got Jessica to fall back on. But Jessica-sama isn't just a fallback for George-sama. I want to experience love too. Jessica? An oblivious fool, unaware of her family's true nature. Then name yourself Golden Witch. With your gold, you could solve all of his family's financial troubles. You think so? It is not nearly that simple. If I reveal myself, those greedy rats will become obsessed and start to squabble. Only ruin will await you and Kanon. Stop. Just stop it. It's the cursed Ushirimiya blood that has you trapped here. Your blood and you, yourself. If you do not choose, you will never escape your suffering. Choose? How am I meant to choose when suffering is a consequence of any of my choices? I was in the hardest possible place. I had to choose what I wanted to do with myself before the day of the family conference, when George-san would be giving me his ring. It was obvious that my life would change forever on that day. I must tell George-san everything. I'm certain he will accept me. I'll leave the island and abandon the me that is Kanon and the me that is Beato. I will live with life as Sayo, where I am loved for being Sayo. I probably won't find the conventional happiness George-san desires, but I won't ask for the much. If there's true love, stay away from me. You disgust me. You were lying to me all this time. Did you really think someone like you could marry me? How horrifying. Get out of my sight. I rose from my nightmare with a jolt, my breathing heavy. After all, my true self had never been accepted by anyone before. No, George-san isn't that kind of person. He's not that kind of person. If I could avoid telling him the truth forever, then my happiness with him would last just as long. George-san, you will accept me for who I am, won't you? I believe in you. Please. Despite the nightmares that plagued me, that day drew ever closer. Shannon, are you even listening? I'm so sorry, madam. I assigned you to clean the entry hall. The family's conference is approaching, so it must be done thoroughly and properly, as I said earlier. Battler-kun will be attending the family conference for the first time in 6 years. Begin your preparations at once. As I cleaned the hall, my emotions from 6 years ago welled back up inside me. Battler-san's coming back. He didn't forget his promise after all. Battler-san's coming back. He's coming to get me at last. When life is hardest for me, he's going to show up and save me from the hell of my fate. And this time, I'll be Battler-san's wife for good. I love Battler-san more than anyone else in the world. Please go away. You were my first love. I parted ways with you. Battler-san isn't coming back for me now. He never so much as sent me a letter. There's no way he remembers a childish promise like that. You doubt Battler-san, even though you love him? The only person in my mind now is George-san. Liar. I can hear us howling in pain. What use is there in trying to hide it? You awaited Battler's return the longest, and now you rejoice more than any other. What excellent timing. Will you use him as a battle plan when George rejects you? Or will you give up and switch to Battler now? Ah, yes, I nearly forgot. Regardless of your choice, you're the owner of a ruined body, unable to love another. I felt as though I was a spider, foolishly trapped in my own thread, struggling wildly. I was always thriving and twisting, attempting to escape my fate. I cursed my fate. I cursed the world. When my inescapable fate finally tangled me so tightly, I felt fit to suffocate. I realized I was the one creating those threads in the first place. If instead of trying to escape my fate, I had chosen sooner to stand up and actively decide my own life, would perhaps have never come to this day. But I no longer had the strength to struggle directly against my fate. I hate this. I can't. I just want to be at rest. I don't want to live in this body anymore. If only I could make it so that it all never happened. Oh, how good that would be. If I could live in a world without troubles. If I could just laugh with the people I love. How good would that be? This is all because of this body of mine. I cannot go anywhere. I cannot be happy. If only I could be free from this cage of flesh I inhabit. My soul could be united with everyone else's. But it's so simple, for I am now Beatrice, the master of Rakajima. Using these explosives, I can take this island and return it to the Golden Land. I have the power to do that. They must have been prepared to blow up the whole island rather than let it be taken. All that's left is to find out if they still work. I will carry it out on the day of the family conference. Yumineko when they cry Chido, Nocturne of the Truth and Illusions. Dr. Nanjo, Kumasawa-san, as the family head, I have a request to make of you. We would do anything for you, dear. We don't need any gold. For as much as you have suffered in life, we only want you to be happy. Oh? A pretend murder? Of course we will play along. Pro tip. A mass murder can untangle any situation. If it doesn't work, you just need a bigger mass murder, right? No one's alive, no one can cause problems. Genji-san, you are my faithful furniture, are you not? Indeed. And you will carry out any order I give you. As family head, I can do whatever I want for this island and the people on it. You can. Even though I said I wanted to commit suicide with the rest of the family. Even then, it was my fault that you were placed under such incredible pressure in the first place. I, Genji, will serve you until the very end. Thank you. Rule 10. Different accomplices each time. All of the adults are in need of money. Buying their cooperation is easy. Why? Any lies agreed upon by the majority are depicted as reality, even better when it comes to constructing closed rooms. Those who see golden butterflies are either on the culprit side or dead. Those who have not been bought off will not see butterflies until 30 minutes before their death. From that point, I wrote murder plans as though I had gone insane. What would the best future be? What kind of ending would satisfy me most? I wrote infinite stories of October 4th and 5th, embellished with magic and fantasy. I was used to imaginary roleplay. I wasn't just drawing up a criminal plan. It felt like parallel worlds of a hypothetical crime. It felt like my soul was leaving my body and experiencing those worlds as I devised them. Die, 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 die. The act of infant killing my relatives began to give me a dark sense of satisfaction. Die, die, die. Fushimi Kinzo, the source of this chain of misery, this accursed blood and all sin. You do not have the right to sleep in peace. I suppose it would be your desire to assist Beatrice even after your death. Die. Everyone who inherited the chain of misery from you ought to die. Kraus, chained by his hatred and violence towards his siblings. Natsuki, who cast my fate into madness. Die. Eva and Hideyoki, who resisted my future with George. Die. Rudolph and Kiri, the reason that Balasan did not return. Die. Rosa, who abused Maria-sama. Die. Genji, Kumasawa, and Najo, Kinzo's accomplices who indirectly allowed this to happen. Die. Goda, who attempted to work for Natsuki for his own selfish greed. Die. All of them, all of them. Let all of you show me a name, and those who align with them be brought to an end. They made their sinful living preying on others, cheating them out of money. It was only a matter of time until their downfall. Once one family lost their footing, they would dredge up the others' past crimes, bringing them all down together. Even if they lived to the 1986 family conference, there is no happy future for them. This family was born from Kinzo's sins and his accursed gold. That is their fate, and karma will do its work. No flowers can bloom from rotted roots. So come and die together with me. Then none of us will have to suffer anymore. The scenario, sacrificial murder carried out by a witch. The truth, a planned suicide of the entire family. The gold ingots as well as cash cards and PIN numbers for bank accounts with the liquidated gold. Make it very easy to manipulate the adults. The Kraus and Natsuki have many problems. They will be willing pawns. I can hide my identity, let them see the gold, and threaten that I'll reveal the cover-up of Kinzo's death to kill Jessica. But Natsuki is quick-tempered and might give it away. She might not make a good accomplice. It might be more enjoyable to keep her in the dark and watch her freak out instead. Eva and Hideyoshi will be easy to buy off too, if I use George as bait. They are both easy to read, soft on their immediate family, but quick to leave the others to the wayside. They're almost perfect pawns for my scheme. If I can buy off Rudolph, Kiri, or Eva, I may be able to have them carry out the murders. Kiri may be tricky, however, as she is quite wary. If I can't get Rudolph and Kiri on my side, I should get rid of them as quickly as possible. I'm not sure if Maria's life will convince Rosa to bargain, but the gold will surely soften her up. And a petty villain like Goda should be easily bribed and made into a valuable member of the secret agreement. The one with the most value as a pawn is Maria. Yep. Absolutely unblinded and unwavering trust. She adores the witch and will listen to anything I tell her. A taste of truth will lie in the words of a true believer like her. will surely confuse the others, as well as make the presence of the witch all the more real. Yes, Murray is the most precious accomplice to me, whom I promised to take to the Golden Land. Your eternal sleep must be peaceful, and undisturbed by anyone else. Genji, Nanjo, and Masala know that they owe me, and will be faithful agents to my cause. As longtime confidants of the family, their allegiance will be a huge advantage. Nanjo in particular can declare people dead when they are faking, and provide any chemicals or poisons required for the crime. It's a common trope for the doctor to be involved in the killing, but there's value in following old customs. If I buy someone off with the claim that the deaths will be fake, they will be rattled as they see a real body. In that case, I can simply claim that it was a high-quality mannequin, prepared in advance, or even say that someone else is actually killing people. If it proves to be too inconvenient, I can simply kill them. There are a great number of guns on the island. If I hide some in particular places throughout the mansion, there will be no need to carry one around at all times. Kinzo's collection of stakes and sawed-off shotguns will allow for gruesome disfigurement of the bodies, hiding any bullet holes. Remove the switchboard, and the phones won't work. All the power and means of communication are under my control. All of it caused by Beatrice, all happening in the palm of my hand, as the ruler of the family. Everyone on the island lives or dies at my decision. With the magic of the gold, I can even control their minds. I will craft entire worlds with just 16 pawns, over and over. With my magic, I can craft any number of fragments within the world of October 4th and 5th. An infinity of possible ifs, endless fragments created within the catbox of October 4th and 5th. Or perhaps there is an infinite number of parallel worlds inside that catbox that I am simply peering into. The plan doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes it's precise, sometimes it's loose. Let it be hit or miss. If I get cornered, I can just kill them, because I've abandoned my choice. So regardless of development or outcome, I will always be satisfied. Like a kaleidoscope, what will the next roulette spin turn up? Who are my accomplices? Who is a victim? And thus a new fragment is born. What fragment shall I examine? What fragment shall I create? This is wonderful. My magic is unfathomable. I have finally become a real witch. This is a level of overhead view that humans cannot reach. This is my realm. You claim that you are a witch? When I made my declaration, a high-pitched voice that I had never heard before answered it and cackled at me. That's right, I am already a witch. But in order to prove that I have transcended the human plane of existence, I will need a being on a higher plane than mine to observe and verify it. If you would happen to be such a being, please turn me into a witch. And if I say no, then I will just have to convince you I am already a witch, regardless of whether or not anyone agrees. Us witches are those released, cast adrift from the physical human plane to walk between the fragments. And even beyond us are omniscient, all-powerful creators, gods, free from all restrictions whatsoever. You humans are nothing but twigs and leaves at the whim of fate that we create for you. And now you, a mere leaf, claims to stand among our number. The other witch's face contorted into a devilish grin. I haven't been this excited since the one who swore to me that she would become a god. I like you. You and your magical system. Despite being a mere human in form, you sent your mind to this plane and claimed territory for yourself. Your cat box has perfect, endless possibilities. Ah, yes. For how long will you stave off my boredom? Very well then. In the name of Lambda Delta, Witch of Certainty, I will accept you as a witch. As long as your absolute certain world remains absolute, I will be your eternal guardian and sponsor. Then I shall write an endless slaughter of October 4th and 5th, until I am entirely satisfied. The deadline is midnight on October 5th. At that moment, 900 tons of explosives will blow up the entire island. Now go ahead and try to stop me. The adults will most likely gather in one place until late in the night of the 4th for the conference. Killing them will be easy. I can throw the bodies into the storehouse, where I'll have already drawn a magic circle. A sawed-off rifle will blow off half their faces without leaving an obvious bullet wound. Of course, the quickest way to kill them would be to poison the wine they toast with. Making the first twilight as ghastly and cold as possible, or making it seem like an impossible crime, will draw his interest and get him to try solving it. Killing Shannon and Kanon early will make moving around much easier. Of course, it may also be fun to appear in the flesh as the living Beatrice. I have the master keys of both Shannon and Kanon. Which should allow for the execution of the possible closed-room murders. In fact, there's a closed-room idea I'm very proud of. Starting from the second room, I'll lock each room with a body and a key to the room before it's inside. I'll put the key to the sixth room in first and leave the door unlocked. And then I'll go into the sixth, lock it from the inside, and play dead. The point is to make the first room the farthest and most difficult room to find. The sixth will be easy to spot. In a room, I might make it easy to break the seal through a window from the outside, for example. The discoverer will easily get into the sixth room through the broken window and find the key to the fifth, guiding them backwards from the actual loop. While that's happening, I can escape through the broken window, go into the first room, lock it from the inside, and play dead again. Nando's cooperation will be vital, but it's worth trying out. Of course, I could also lock the door and commit suicide, thus sealing the room. That's a method I've read about in some book. Tying up the gun with wire using the recoil from the shot to knock it behind the furniture and hide the weapon. That kind of thing. I could even leave a sacrificial steak nearby. That way, even after I die, the witch's illusion will remain. I could also put a false tag on a fake key and leave it in the room. Locking from the outside with the real key would make them think it was a perfect closed-room murder. No one apart from the other servants would be able to tell the difference. All of these tricks I've come up with, which of them should I test out? Not me to go through all these laborious methods when I have the golden magic spell of matching stories. With my magic, any closed room trick. Yep. My imaginary pull off any closed room trick. Any trick of disappearing corpses. Any impossible crime. Any frame anyone I want, and what should come next? Orthodox history, ghastly horror. All my pawns carry out my modes. Shall I carry out the plan myself, without accomplices at times? I turn nearly all of them into accomplices in a fake murder plot. I could perhaps test them to see if they are truly up to my expectations. Thank you, my loved ones. Thank you for loving me, despite myself. You will be with me forever, when we are nothing but souls. You would give up your lives for my sake, wouldn't you? Hot, wet tears dripped onto the page. My hand quivered to a stop. Should I be doing this? This horrible, awful thing? Should I really? Taking down those I love with me, along with their families. Is that what I want? Is this gonna make anything right? I turned away from the page, and all I was greeted with was a mirror. And all that was reflected was my pathetic, sobbing face. Of course not. This can never be right. I want the people I love to live. And the truth is, if possible, I want to live and be happy. What's this? Even at this late hour, you still believe there's a chance you can be happy? Furniture. Of course, I decided this was the only way. Therefore, I cannot stop myself. Only someone else can. Rule Z. Someone, please stop me. I won't pray for absolute certainty. I want you to solve it, so I won't put too much pressure on you, winning by killing everyone, or losing by having my mystery solved, are both outcomes I desire. Kinzo claimed that solving the epitaph would take a miracle, that it was a bet that harbored the magic of miracles. That someone would solve the epitaph and find this room, and switch off the bomb, so we would survive. I decided to make that bet, and if someone I loved solved the epitaph and took the headship from me, then I would submit to that miracle, erase my other loves, and dedicate myself wholly to that person. I would stop the murders and admit to my crimes. That way, no matter the outcome, I could accept it and work with it. That must be my punishment. And you'll solve it, won't you? You'll realize that I'm the culprit, and you'll stop me, won't you? October 3rd, 1986. I dumped all the bottles into the ocean. If such a wish can't come true, then let us all be happy in the Golden Land. All of the bottled messages are designed so that if you follow the rules, you can always determine the culprit. So each and every bottle is a confession of my sins, my penance for my sins that cannot go unwritten. As a meager apology to those left behind, I have sent you a tiny little golden land of my own, though I know that this is not enough to earn your forgiveness. Once I have Maria-sama read out the invitation she learned by heart to the rest of the family, the night of slaughter will begin in earnest. Everything after that is up to the whims of the roulette wheel. By the time the clock rings midnight on October 5th, we will all be ushered into a world free of earthly suffering. I am the Great Witch of Rakunjima, Beatrice. Please, bring an end to this chain of accursed blood and misery. And if it is permitted, may I be blessed with the miracle of laughing and smiling with the one I love. When the seagulls cry. Umineko when they cry Chiru, Nocturne of the Truths and Illusions. Afterword. Thank you for reading Confessions of the Golden Witch. If you truly enjoyed this tale, then I implore you to read The Twilight of the Golden Witch manga by Natsumi Kei. Accurate speaking, I am the one who PS3ified this fan VN. I didn't script a whole lot, I mostly edited some details of the marvelous work James did, so thank you, James. I also want to thank Renal, James, and Orion, for the help with Renpy, and really anything, to be honest, really. I wouldn't have been able to do half of what I did without your advice. Also, I would like to thank Taron as well for the logo and various other assets I was missing. As good as my sprite edits might be, there is a myriad of beautiful pieces of art that this format could not do justice. Once you return to the title screen, you may start the game and experience 3 new stories: Abuse of Power, Cage of Obligations, and When the Seagulls Cry. The second story follows the manga Versions of Confession, taking place after a certain major scene involving a certain someone in the Golden Land in episode 8, bridging the gap between the information revealed in Confessions and the events of the rest of the episode. Don't read it if you're not sure what I mean. The latter is the last chapter of the manga made into a VN, so make sure you have read Umineko no Nakukoro ni Chiru fully before checking it. While it's a conclusion of sorts, it's not nearly as good as what the manga or the VN might propose, but it's still worth checking out. As for the former one, you can read that one whenever. Alright. Well, to be quite frank, that is such a horrible tale. That's a bit of an abuse of power there. But alright. And yeah, if I was in that situation, I would flat out not have ever come to solve that. Even if I was like pressured life or death, I still don't think I would have been able to solve that. I am not that skillful or dedicated to such a thing. I have failed. Abuse of Power. The Golden Witch's Inner Darkness. The difficulty level is quite skimpy. That's a word. Skimpy. Genji-san. You are my faithful furniture, are you not? Indeed. And you will carry out any order I give you. As family head, I can do whatever I want for the island and the people on it. You can. Even if I said I wanted the entire family to wear frills on their crotches. Best story ever. Yumi Neko, when they cry, cheered, and knocked into the truths and delusions. So that would be why. That would be why, huh? That was like 5 lines. But already. And so I'm assuming I read the other ones after I read the 8th chapter, right? Alright. Frills on their crotches, huh? That would... They explain everything, don't they? Well, good thing Genji was Ranave and didn't have to wear the frills. But it was all the servants. So I guess, yeah, I won't. I like trying to follow proper order, procedure, what have you. I think I might call it a day for now. It's a good stopping point. We can, like, start fresh instead of, like, some odd halfway point for next time. But yeah, that's definitely something else. Yeah, there's just no real proper good ending for any of that. But I will have to point out one thing that sticks with me. Shannon always and continually kept mentioning, "Someone please save me. I have no control. I have no choice. I'll wait for somebody else to come get me." She is always waiting and waiting for somebody else to solve her problem. The only time she took matters into her own hands is when she finally cracked and started the plan to kill everybody. And that's when she... I'm lacking proper words. That's when things went right for her. Right? But things started working out. Things started going as she wished because she had the desire and the motive to do all of that. So, waiting and believing other people will solve your problems is not the only solution. You have power. More so than you really realize, and I'm saying this partly to myself as well. But yeah, because I've spent a great deal of my life, and I'm still, technically, I'm waiting for my life to happen. Flat out, it's not going to. I have to make it happen, so, I'm just going to say, and speaking of, I've been, for the past few days, toying around with trying to figure out other things I can do on the stream. And shifting it around. Of doing more hours or different hours. In that regard, is there a time slot that might work better for you? I might not be able to do it, but I'd like to at least put it into consideration, like a few hours earlier or later. And I happen to drop this. That might work out for you. Because I'm trying to, I want to try and do, and this is me correcting my own wording, I want to stream for more. I want to be more active than I have been. I don't think 2 hours or an hour and a half would be enough to, be effective. I want to stream for more. So, my current thoughts are streaming for longer after this, especially since we have the new internet here. So I have the ability to. But also, streaming personally later, in like the evening. Earlier would be better for me. Well, maybe we discuss it over Discord, yeah. You know, it's... Yeah, this is my whole problem. But, like... How much earlier? Because I could wake up, do the stream, and then pass back out and wake up for the rest of the day or something. And come up solely for this. One of the other things was doing early morning streams on a couple of days. Like maybe just Thursday, Friday, or something. We can do like Umineko for a dedicated early session or something like that. It could work out instead of doing it all the time. I've been trying to work with it and figure it out. But yeah. Because if we each go like, I'm doing it at 3 and it's kind of iffy, but if we go like full bore, like even a few more hours earlier, and I have that dedicated, and then I just, and solely for that instead of starting. I found that Kinto's way of doing things is actually really effective. Well, I'm figuring this out, and I want to try and do some of this stuff, but I found Kinto's method of going full bore into whatever you're trying to do works out really well, actually. And so instead of doing, like, I'll do a stream a bit, wake up, do some breakfast, get some stuff going, and I'm always in a state of halfway ready to do everything. It's, you know, but yeah, at the very least, I want to at least consider it, the option of doing it earlier and whatnot, seeing how it worked. One of the other thoughts I've had, to make it more interesting, is doing a complete full 180, as in no 3 in the morning streams or whatnot for me. I wake up, go straight to work, come back home, and then do a late night stream that overlaps. So instead of doing like a little in the morning and a little at night, just shift it all into one big stream or something like that. Flip the chessboard around, do something like that. But anyway, I think that is a good stopping spot for today. I'm curious about the other stories. I'd like to read them, like have the honor of being able to read them, but that'll have to wait until after I read the 8th one and whatnot. But yeah, so anyway, take care. See ya. I'm gonna be, one thing I've talked about before, and I'm starting to fall back into the habit of it. What you say is important. I keep falling into the habit. I'd like to try this. I am going to do this. I will do this. So I am going to finish that painting. No tries, no ifs, no I am going to do it. So I'll show you something tomorrow. Finished Beatrice portrait to the best of my abilities. No, I don't have 900 tons of explosives. But I do have my own little island out here. Technically, my little cabin here is above ground. It's its own little thing. Anyway, take care. See you later. The 900 tons would actually get my butt in gear. I oftentimes need somebody to just give me a kickstart. Anyway, take care. Try not to go on a mass murder rampage. I'll help you through it. I'll be your Genji and try and steer